Hi, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Philosophy Insights. Today, we're tackling a subject that might just be the make or break factor for Donald Trump's 2024 presidential run. Let's talk about the one thing that could lead to Trump's downfall this election. Remember 2016? Trump was the ultimate political outsider. He was the candidate who promised to drain the swamp, made enemies in the GOP establishment, the FBI, and the mainstream media.
Earlier today, I outlined my contract with the American voter, the steps I will take my first 100 days in office, and the bills I will send to Congress, and these will be bills that will put us on the path of making this country great again, believe me. In fact, I encourage you, go visit our website and read it. You'll see a lot of good things and a lot of things that will make you very proud and very happy. At the very top of the list is one of the most important promises of all. If I'm elected president, we are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
He was a politician that called out political correctness in unprecedented ways. Breitbart News and other conservative outlets hailed him as the disruptor of the GOP establishment. He was the voice of those who felt forgotten by Washington. Now, fast forward to today, there's a different vibe to the campaign. Trump is much more entrenched in the political establishment. This is just a fact. Trump's campaign this time around includes endorsements of long-standing GOP figures, attending establishment events, and even his rhetoric has softened. It is true that this alignment is probably strategic for party unity, but that choice can easily become costly. Consider the recent interview with Elon Musk. He discussed tax cuts aimed at spurring economic growth, deregulation, and the promise of robust border security. He reiterated his commitment to law and order, emphasizing a crackdown on crime, and projected an image of strength in global affairs.
This election is about saving our economy, ending inflation, securing our borders, restoring respect for our nation. We're no longer respected. Preventing World War III, especially for all these young people, these young, beautiful people. We don't want to get them into World War III. And stopping a 1929-style depression, because that's what's going to happen. You saw what happened last week. With your vote, we will reverse the Kamala crash, and we will end the Kamala chaos.
Now, these topics have always been the bedrock of Trump's political stance, and there's no doubt they resonate with his base. But also note that these are simply standard GOP talking points that do not separate him much from other GOP candidates. What's striking in this campaign cycle is how these issues seem to define the entirety of his platform. There's a sense that Trump's agenda has narrowed, missing the revolutionary rhetoric that characterized his 2016 campaign. In his dialogue with Elon Musk, there was a noticeable absence of discourse on issues that once fired up his base, particularly the perceived disenfranchisement of his base, the working class man next door who lost his job because of some affirmative action hiring. Trump previously tapped into sentiments of frustration from his voters who felt that initiatives we now call wokeism were tilting the scales and create a society where men are no longer valued. This time around, reverse discrimination comes up much less. The omission is significant because it leaves unaddressed a sense of grievance that was a potent motivator for many in his 2016 electorate. The core issue here isn't policy or persona, it's perception. In 2016, Trump supporters were galvanized by his outsider status, his promise to shake things up. We can see from rallies and online engagement that he still commands a strong base. And this isn't to say Trump can't win in 2024. He has the machinery, the recognition, and a loyal base. But to recapture the magic of 2016, he needs to address this shift in perception. He must remind his voters, and perhaps himself, why he was the chosen disruptor. Train the swamp. He needs to prove he's still willing to fight the system, not be absorbed by it. Also, notice, in 2016, Hillary Clinton epitomized the political establishment, perfectly setting the stage for Trump's outsider versus insider.
First, though, let's salute President Biden. He has been democracy's champion at home and abroad. He brought dignity, decency, and competence back to the White House. And he showed what it means to be a true patriot. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your lifetime of service and leadership. And now we are writing a new chapter in America's story.
However, the scenario has shifted with Kamala Harris as the Democratic contender. Despite efforts by some media outlets to cast her as a moderate, Harris's track record and policies clearly align with the progressive and far left wing of the Democrats.
On Friday, Kamala Harris gave her first major economic policy address, where she called for, among other things, aggressive enforcement of price gouging in the food and grocery sector, subsidies of up to $25,000 for qualified first-time homebuyers, reinstatement of the child tax credit that was briefly in effect during the first part of the Biden administration, and she has also endorsed an idea from her opponent, Donald Trump: no taxes on tips. Who says bipartisanship is dead? Catherine, which do you like more, price controls or subsidizing demand?
Yeah, thank you so much for those excellent options, Peter and Kamala Harris, I guess.
Don't blame me. I'm just the messenger.
The subsidizing demand piece of it makes more political sense to me, and I don't think that that's saying much. But hey, America, this thing feels expensive to you. Here's some money to spend on it. Is at least a format that we have followed in the past, disastrously in every case. But the good morning, your Campbell's soup cost has gone up a quarter, and don't worry, President Harris is on it and will be punishing the grocery chains is, you know, I think quite rightly was greeted as a further bridge, as something that we don't do as a matter of habit. And I don't know if you've been following Catherine Rampell, I don't know how you say her name, the
economics columnist at the
Washington Post economics gal.
Post, yeah.
She wrote a piece with a truly fabulous headline, which was something like, hey, if you're being accused of being a communist, maybe don't propose price controls.
This positions her somewhat as an outsider, albeit in a different context than Trump. The Democrats are likely to play this card strategically, portraying Harris as a centrist to appeal to moderate voters, while her policies and past actions speak to the progressive and far left base. This dual approach could muddy the waters of the establishment versus outsider narrative that was so clear with Clinton. There are signs he's trying to pivot back, to reconnect with that raw, unfiltered energy. One example is that as of 3 days ago, he brought back Corey Lewandowski as his campaign advisor, who was one of his advisors in 2016. If Trump can't convince his base that he's still the outsider fighting for them, this alignment with the GOP establishment could very well be the Achilles heel leading to his electoral defeat. So, what is your take on this? Do you have a similar perception? Or do you think that his current campaign strategy works totally fine? Write in the comments below. Also subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this.